Hey everybody, Adam Savage here in my cave with some Ghostbusters awesomeness coming. I love Ghostbusters Afterlife, not just because we got to spend a week on set, not just because a bunch of friends of mine made it, but mostly because of a heartfelt story and a continuance of one of my all-time favorite franchises. And the new game, Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed, carries that story forward from Afterlife, taking with it a bunch of the coolest gear from the movie. We have partnered with them to build the RTV, the remote trap vehicle, and this was the perfect opportunity for Tested's own Sean Charlesworth, our resident Ghostbusters fanatic and trap expert, to build a working RC version of the prop as seen in the game. Let's check in on Sean's progress.
Hey, it's Sean. Looks like I've been tasked with building an RTV for Adam. Definitely one of our favorite pieces of new equipment that showed up in Afterlife and then was carried over into the Spirits Unleashed video game. If you haven't seen it, it's a remote control ghost trap. I mean, it's hard to beat, and it deploys out the back of Ecto-1. So very cool. They did a really great representation of it in the game, and we're going to try to give you some tips and tricks on how to maybe build your own, because it's a lot of parts and a lot of research. So let's just dive right in. You're obviously going to need a ghost trap body to go on it. I have designed a 3D printed trap that I have used to build many traps, and I can use that technology to like make my own slightly scaled up version to fit the RC car version. And there's other things you could do. You get like a Spirit Halloween trap. They're very cheap and easy to work with. That is a good starting point to possibly make a shell, or take a tip from our friend Bill Duran and maybe make a foam body, which would actually probably be better than what I did as far as impact resistance and stuff like that. Check out our friend Ben Eady and his YouTube channel, because Ben worked on Ghostbusters Afterlife. He came down and helped Adam build his proton pack. He's given us lots of tips and even let us see and check out his original movie trap that he wrecked during filming and then rebuilt. And he has some really good build tips in that video as well. So that's where I got some of my stuff. You should check it out too, in addition to the info we give here. We got the doors that technically will open and work, but they won't actually function on the trap because that's a little bit of technological hurdle that we weren't able to get over. This guy is a 6-pin ITT Canon or Amphenol connector. I'll put the part number in there, but different from the standard trap, which has the pneumatic connector. And then also these are my knobs that I 3D designed and printed, real vector plate and resistor, and we're doing real metal plates that I had laser cut for the sides and back and front bar graph. The base car, if you want to be movie accurate, is the Traxxas Stampede 4x4. I want to preface this by saying I am not an RC car person at all. I know nothing about them. So everything that I figured out was just sitting for hours online and reading a lot of forums and looking at a lot of pictures and models of cars and stuff like that. There's also some really good information on GB fans to check out for RTV builds as well. So if you want to be movie accurate, it's the Traxxas Stampede 4x4. I believe that the one they used for film was the VXL version, which is the super deluxe, has the bigger motor and stuff like that in it. And it has pretty much all the special modification parts that you would need. Now that's a little pricey, and I didn't need a motor that powerful in mine. So I went with the Stampede standard 4x4. You can get it as a kit or you can get it built. I went with the kit because I like building things. and then you can more easily fix it and stuff like that. I've already assembled the rear and front suspension for the car, and we have the chassis. Now, the biggest problem you run into with doing the RTV is modifying a chassis to fit inside a Ghostbusters ghost traps. So I used my 3D modeling skills and came up with a custom solution. But if you want to take the original, you basically shave it down right on the sides of these mounting holds for the front suspension, and you shave the sides off to make it skinnier, and then you have to cut it front and back. So you cut it right about here at the front of where the motor mounts, and then a little bit down from the top to shorten it. Now, the challenge you're going to run into is that once you take, this is where the steering servo goes, and you close that distance, it makes it impossible to fit the steering over there. So you have to move it to the other side, which is a drag. But you kind of have to do it in order to squeeze it into the right size wheelbase. And then what you could do is put some metal plates in here to join the chassis back together and make it rigid again. And that's what a lot of people have been doing. Or you can do like a custom 3D printed solution. When you do that, you're going to need a different drive shaft. This is the drive shaft that comes with it. It's plastic, and it puts the suspension at a set distance. You will need to get a Traxxas metal drive shaft, which has splines extruded the whole way through it. And then you're going to cut it to length so that you can then join these together. And you'll also need a spline adapter for the metal crankshaft. So what I would do is once you figure out your chassis situation, then you can cut the metal drive shaft to length and make it fit the chassis that you're going to use. While we're looking at this area, also we talked about having to move the steering servo to the other side because of the motor. The problem you're going to run into is the existing servo saver arm, the steering arm, is on this side. So I 3D modeled a custom one that mirrored it, and that's what I moved to the other side. This also has these metal guys. These are the fancier turnbuckle suspension links that you will need if you want to be movie accurate. The base kit for these actually comes with plastic arms, which will totally work. They're just not movie accurate once again. So we have the fancier turnbuckles that are available separately. I will post a part number for those as well. So that replaces the suspension links and the turning links as well. So we have those in. The same goes on the back, and then we also have the shock towers. So the shock towers are where you have to figure out how to attach the body. To that, I use some custom 3D parts to attach mine, and but you can totally make these work. One of the things that Ben was running into, and I think it may even happen on set, is that where these suspension links attached can break off, and because the ghost trap was getting put through a lot of abuse. So one of the things you can also do is, once again, I did custom vectors, and you can make custom reinforcement plates that you screw onto the existing tower to just make it stronger and reinforce these points where the links tie into. So that is an option as well. You also will need to upgrade your tire and shock situation. And the tires are ridiculous. They're these giant monster tires. I will link, I'll put a link to what model they are in the description. But you will need to get an adapter for them. So what you need are 12 to 17 millimeter, 30 millimeter extensions. So it's adapting the 12 millimeter hub that is on the suspension to the 17 millimeter hub that is on these giant tires. Now the movie ones, and the RC community can hopefully help here. The movie ones don't have anything here in the middle. The only ones that I have been able to find have this hex bolt, which is not completely movie accurate. So if you guys know of one that you reach inside and do a set screw versus this, I would love to hear what model it is so that I can get it more accurate to the movie. So once you have your extensions on, you can do your giant tires, and then you're gonna need to upgrade your shocks. These are the Emax Big Bore shocks, but they're the proper shock and proper color to match the movie and game RTV. And then finally, one other possible thing that you may want to do is upgrade the transmitter. The transmitter that comes with it is a 2-channel, so you have steering and speed. I upgraded to a 4-channel because I wanted to be able to control the headlights and possibly the doors. So we have a rocker switch and a toggle switch on top that can tie into those guys. And then I figured that there had to be a way to like turn on and off the headlights with the receiver. And I found this very simple RC switch that gets plugged into one of the channels. This thing gets plugged into the headlights, and then the toggle switch on here will just turn them on and off. Simple. The doors are a problem for future me because there's so little space inside there that they're hard to make work fully. They were spring loaded in the movie, I think, so they just like, it was a one and done kind of thing. But that'll be a problem for future Adam and Sean. So that's just kind of an overview of like some of the parts that I found. And let's get into like an actual assembly of this and get it running and see how Adam likes it. All right, so we have the basic build done. It's just about ready to test drive, but we need to add one more little thing that is just, it ties in nicely with the Spirits Unleashed game. They sent us some screen grabs of the RTV option in the game, and they have this cool greebly that goes on the front of it that I just thought it'd be fun to replicate. So I basically, just working from the screen grabs, we modeled up this front portion. I added some real world greeblies from my cool parts collection, some real screws and stuff. And I was able to find almost identical lights to what is actually on the game prop. And I even made the little antenna for it. And then it's a standalone unit, so it can actually light up all by itself. And not rely on the RTV. So let's get this installed and get this over to Adam for a test drive.
Sean, the RTV is here.
It was a much longer trek than the video would imply, but yes, we did it.
It always is a longer trek. It's so funny. This is just amazing. I first saw the Ghostbusters Afterlife script somewhere in like 2017, 2018. And we spent a week on the set in 2019. But when I was at the first table read for Afterlife, and they were talking about the RTV, the remote ghost trap. I love the idea so much. I was like, what would that look like? And I drew this little sketch. And of course, there's only a couple of ways that it's going to look like, right? Big knobby tires on an RC car with the ghost trap sitting on top. I feel like I've been waiting since that moment to see this. And I mean, we went on set, we saw these go, but holy cow, it is beautiful in person.
It's just so big and chunky and satisfying. Like, yeah. And I'm amazed that when they did the movie, like it was almost all practical. Like, yes. like pro RC drivers and our friend Ben driving it. Mm-hmm. And I think they even drove it up the ramp into the car. Like, it's just too good not to do.
So talk to me about the process. You have already dived all the way into ghost traps.
Yes, from scratch. I did a nice 3D version of it that you can print.
I've got your kit.
Yeah, so intimately familiar with a lot of the details on it. And I had a lot of the parts already, like all the greeblies that go on.
For the
on
ghost
this.
trap.
Yep.
But
Yep.
tell me about,
Oh, man.
you spent months and months and months, right?
Yeah,
Researching those to get to know them and put it in your head. How was it doing that a second time with a new add-on to the Ghost?
It was hard. I know nothing about RC cars like at all. And we were privileged enough because we worked on your proton pack build during Afterlife. We saw behind the scenes stuff before anybody else did. So I had a picture. I knew what some of the stuff looked like. So I was picture after picture of looking on eBay, etc., for giant tires until you filled the rest. I was so proud of myself that I figured out both the tires and the car chassis just by what the little bit you could see. And I was like, well, I'm going to share this with the community because we like to do that. And like literally the day I wanted to do it is like everyone had already figured it out. I was like, oh man, like,
you've got this spread spectrum of people doing it. What I love is that once you've gone down that rabbit hole, you can never look at the tires in the same way again, right? Your eyes will always have that tread as a comparator.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Every single time you see big, and so these are foam filled, not pneumatic.
Yeah, as far as they're foam filled. I think they're already glued together, so they were an easy buy once I figured out what they were for. And then there's some tricks of. Because they're so gigantic, you have to get axle extenders to move it out from the trap and all that kind of stuff. So it was in it. And what I opted for, you can get the kit as like a full built car or a unassembled kit. I got the unassembled kit because it was fun putting the car together.
Yeah, no.
and then you know how to fix it, you know. So it was, and I don't think ours is quite as zippy as what they used in the film, but that's actually a good thing for us because like this is not, you know, in the film they have like our friend Ben rebuilt the one that he wrecked during production, and that has a completely rubber body. So that's meant to be abused. This is a little more delicate because it's all a 3D printed body, even in our tough stuff that we like. But you know, we're have to be careful.
So we got this reference material somewhere in the middle or late 2019. How does it feel to have brought this across the line,
it's
brother?
Funny. I had barely started, and we were in, and I had gathered some stuff. So this was the perfect chance to do it, and then. Because they put it into the Spirits Unleashed game. So it was a perfect opportunity to like wrap it up and tie it into that and Afterlife. And then I did a little extra thing right here.
Yeah, I was going to ask about this. I don't remember this front bumper exactly from the film.
So what the cool, because it's a video, it's, you know, Spirits Unleashed video game. So all the equipment, proton packs, traps, everything, you can upgrade them. So once you get enough points, you can upgrade and get better trap life and all that stuff. So the RTV is actually a base add-on that you can add to the trap. And they have this cool little greebly that they added on. So I worked from the screen grabs and 3D modeled up this to replicate what they had in the game.
That's a model.
And then just found like, I found actual lights that match what they had in the game.
Oh!
Yeah, and then good, you know, prop faction, there's some good greeblies. So these are buttons from Seconic light meters.
Are they really?
Yeah, they really are. From my vast collection of cool parts. And then we cheated a little bit. There's a 9-volt on the front, which is completely for looks because it's running off a coin cell. Not 9 volts was just overkill for this. And I didn't want to have to unstrap it every time you need to change the batteries.
Fair enough.
Even did, I was happy with this. I even did the dowel in a drill to make the antenna.
Dude, that antenna looks legit.
I couldn't find the exact one that I wanted, so I was like, I just make one, you know.
So you sat there and counted 6 turns.
Yeah, exactly.
Did the flashlights go on?
Oh, okay, yes. So this was a stretch goal.
This, by the way, is so freaking beautiful. These are the first RC controllers I was aware of in the 70s. And this is old school.
Oh, it totally is old school. And it's completely for looks. It does
really?
It does not work with this at all. I mean, better electronics people than myself could make it happen.
Okay.
But I bought this as a broken one, like non-functional.
And it remains so.
Right. And it's just strictly just because it looks cool. So what we're actually using is the real RC car.
Oh, nicely done. Because this is some Back to the Future stuff right here.
I know. Like 1970s Futaba with a bunch of extras added to the top.
I really, the duct tape is.
And I'm actually gonna, part of what we're trying to do is we're trying to help people build their own RTVs. So I'm gonna get a nice little parts list of what you need to add on to this.
Well, I mean, and I also think it would be reasonable just to put a ruler. I mean, someone's going to model this at some point, so you could just 3D print a shell to put all these mechanics in, right?
Yeah.
That's
so I'm sure the RC people are going to chime up in the comments and be like, oh, all you need to do is blah, blah, blah. And that's how you make it work. I just couldn't figure it out. But anyway, so one of the upgrades I did is the base kit for this, which is the Traxxas Stampede 4x4, a big truck thing.
Yep.
It comes with a 2-channel controller, so speed and turning.
And
but
that's it.
I upgraded to a 4-channel so that we had the options of
lights.
Yeah, so I got the lights hooked up, and then we have the 4th channel if we ever figure out the doors. That was too tough of a problem for me to crack.
That was my next question: was do the doors open? Oh, I see. There's not
not a lot of space in this.
There is not a lot of. Whoa.
So what we did is this is I took this from Ben. He made this magnetic, so if you just pull this out, you can get to all the guts.
Give me this. That is some sweet business
power
right there.
Of magnets.
Oh,
yeah.
Magnets have made everything better.
So, from my understanding, because it's so tight in here space-wise, I think like many movie props, it was a one and done. So it was a spring-loaded. It had a little pin that would spring open the doors and.
So the doors, right. It's like when you're designing the prop at home, you're like, I want the doors to open. So you're going to design a mechanism so you can open and close them. But on the movie, it's like all we need is a shot of it opening.
Yeah, like there's some guy with a stick below it, like opening and closing it.
Jamie's one of my early lessons from Jamie Heineman on commercial production props was they should work until you're wrapped, and then they should fall to pieces. That is the delineator that you have wasted no extra effort.
We definitely build props to a higher standard because we want them to do everything.
No, of course, dude.
Yeah,
I can't believe how packed in that
really
stuff
is packed. Just the battery alone takes up a lot of space, and so we'll figure out those doors at a later date, and we have the channel to do it. So.
All right, so then these go in here like
it's a little fiddly.
Okay.
And then it kind of fricks. Yep, there you go.
And it comes on down.
Yeah.
Dude.
So, it was a fun build, and I was able to recycle some stuff from my 3D printed trap. I made some new stuff. So this was apparently a very obscure military antenna swivel.
Yeah.
I can't find that, so I 3D modeled that one up.
Oh, it looks good.
Yeah.
Does this light come on? Can I turn?
That does not come on. This is completely non-functional at this point. Down the line, hopefully we can get this light up, the bar graph to go, and all that kind of stuff. But the most fun is the driving part.
Can we drive it?
Oh yeah.
Can I? Is it?
No.
Okay.
The reason being,
right, because there's so much crap in here. This does not carry through the body.
This weighs about 9 pounds. And the handle, unlike the regular trap, this is really only tied into the top plate here.
Right.
So
you just tear it apart.
And it's all 3D printed.
No.
You can pick it up, but it's not the best idea. So we kind of want to like cradle it like a little baby.
Nice. You would do that anyway. What is the resin you printed it with?
I used the Formlabs Tough 2K, which has been our
that's our go-to
favorite.
bread and butter. That came from one of my effects friends who said they had extensive experience with how stable and.
I've been super impressed with it. In fact, one of the things Ben talks about is because they have to shorten the chassis on this, they have to move the steering servo to the opposite side, and the steering arm that comes with it is not. You can't just swap it. So Ben did a really good mod where he used, I think he was using the super glue and baking soda trick, and like he basically made new plastic and carved it out. I 3D modeled a new one and printed it in the Tough. So far, it's been holding up.
Wow.
So yeah,
I love that
that's
stuff.
Another one that I'll actually try to post the files to. So if you need to print one out yourself.
Okay, so I'm gonna pick this up like a little baby and let's go driving. I'm keeping my hands off the controller.
Yeah, I don't know I don't think you need too much info on this. You've done this kind of stuff before, but
light
toggle on top and steering and whatever. But it will go quite fast.
Yeah.
Which we will not be able to do in here. But give it a whirl.
All right. Oh, it's been a while. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Look at how little Maggie cares. Wait, where's reverse? Oh, where's reverse? Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Sorry, sweetie. I apologize. Maggie's here today just because she's here today. I love how it goes over obstacles and watching that chassis twist. It is bringing me back to the early days of RC cars. It's just the best.
It's fun to drive, and it's also just fun to be on the shelf as a prop.
So you were saying that this is not as peppy as the one in the film?
No,
because this is peppy AF.
I
man.
believe that the one in the film used the even higher deluxe version of this kit, which has an insane motor in it. I'd be afraid to drive it.
Well, Sean, I'm glad that you have finally birthed the baby after so long.
I'm glad you like it.
Dude, it's not only gorgeous and really fun. I mean, it was fun when I first read about it. It was fun when I saw the first design. It is the perfect extension of a franchise for geeks like you and me. And the fact that it drives is gravy. And this is just a perfect add-on piece.
It really is nice. Yeah. And I would really like to thank Spirits Unleashed for giving us the opportunity to build this. And I particularly like getting able to take their digital-only add-ons and bring it into the real world. It was a ton of fun finding like the right parts and making it look right, and I think it looks pretty cool.
Well, and information about the parts that Sean found, and specifically Spirits Unleashed the game, are in the description below. Thanks, guys.